This article right here, this headline right here, sums it all up. Heavyweights should be thanking Anthony Joshua for rescuing division from obscurity. Round of applause. Round of applause. 100%. That's what Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder should be doing, is thanking this guy for rescuing the division from obscurity. Now, he hasn't done it single-handedly. Tyson Fury has had a big hand in it, actually. Deontay Wilder, not so much. Deontay Wilder, before Tyson Fury and Joshua became champions, Deontay Wilder was part of that obscurity. He was part of that obscure heavyweight division. Wilder wasn't turning heads. He wasn't doing nothing. There was Klitschko, and his style was so boring for the most part, he put the whole rest of the world off outside of the Ukraine and Germany. I know that his fights were screened worldwide, but how many people were really inspired to watch boxing or take up boxing based upon watching Vladimir Klitschko jab, jab, grab some little short, fat, blown up cruiserweight to death? Not many. Klitschko was a good champion and a very good fighter, but his style, and I'm talking about Vladimir here, more so than his brother Vitaly, but his style just wasn't very exciting, and he often used illegal tactics in his fights. So the heavyweight division was in the dark ages. Then Tyson Fury came along and he took the titles off Klitschko, and the division was left open at that point. Open. Fury hadn't rescued the division from the dark ages. Fury is not an exciting fighter these days. He's not as dull as Vladimir Klitschko was for the most part. Fury is a bit more unpredictable than that. More of a showman. But he's no knockout artist. So who's to say that if Tyson Fury had held on to them titles and hadn't had that issue with UKAD, who's to say that he would have lit up the division with exciting performances and been filling up stadiums, and who's to say that he would have done all that? I suspect that he wouldn't. I suspect he wouldn't have been able to do all that. I suspect that he wouldn't have been able to lift the heavyweight division out of the dark ages where people were no longer interested in it. But Anthony Joshua was able to do that. When Anthony Joshua knocked out Charles Martin, we entered a new era in heavyweight boxing. That was when the new era really started. Tyson Fury prepared us for the new era. Tyson Fury ended the old era, but the new era only really started when Joshua beat Charles Martin. And obviously Charles Martin was not a historically great champion. He wasn't anything special at all. But it was kind of like when Mike Tyson beat Trevor Berbick. Trevor Berbick wasn't a great champion. He was one of the weakest champions in heavyweight history. But that was the start of the new era. The start of the new era wasn't when Tyson beat Tony Tucker. It wasn't when Tyson beat Michael Spinks years later. No, the start of the new era was when Tyson beat Trevor Berbick to become the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. That was the start of the new era. Remember, there were other guys around at the time who were champions after Larry Holmes lost his belts, remember? Because Larry Holmes lost his IBF title, to Michael Spinks. Was Michael Spinks the one who started the new era after Larry Holmes? No, it wasn't Michael Spinks. He was the one who ended Larry Holmes' reign. Yeah, just like Tyson Fury ended Klitschko's reign. But the new era didn't start with Michael Spinks. The new era started with Mike Tyson. And this current new era has started with Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying he's as good as Tyson, worse than... I'm not saying none of that. I'm just talking about the impact they've had on the heavyweight division with regards to generating interest from the public. When Spinks beat Holmes, yeah, it was surprising. but it didn't send reverberations around the world. Even though Spinks beating Holmes was a better win than Tyson beating Berbick. But Tyson brought the fan interest. He brought the excitement back to the division. He was something new and fresh and dangerous. Dynamic. Because the division at that point, it was competitive, but it got stagnant. And that's what Joshua's done in this era. And as a result of what Joshua's done and the attention that he's brought to the heavyweight division, the purses of all these heavyweights at world level are going up. So the likes of Wilder and Fury need to thank Joshua for that. I'm serious. Wilder, Fury, Miller, Dylan White, all these guys. They wouldn't have been getting this kind of money in the Klitschko era. You go look at the purses the Klitschko opponents were earning. Other than, let's say, Povetkin, and that was basically a unification because Povetkin was regular champion. And he had a lot of clout in Russia. But outside of that, look at the purses that the average Klitschko contender was earning. It was chicken change. I mean, you could have never got a situation in the Klitschko era where two contenders fought each other on a pay-per-view and earned millions. Well, that's what you just had with Dylan White against Joseph Parker. Two contenders fighting on a pay-per-view for millions. That is because of what Joshua, the interest Joshua has brought back to the division. That's why. So yeah, I concur and agree with that headline that the heavyweights should be thanking Anthony Joshua for rescuing the division from obscurity. They should be happy that he's around because even though he's making more money than them, their purses are also increasing because of him. Their notoriety, their fame is increasing because of him. They should be thanking him for it. They should be grateful. They shouldn't be so bitter towards the guy. They should be thanking him for it. Of course, they should also be trying to beat him. They should also be trying to take his place, naturally. If you're a heavyweight contender, you should be trying to be the best. You should be trying to come for his neck. You know? But I'll give you an example. Ken Norton, who fought Muhammad Ali 3 times in the 1970s. He gave Ali absolute hell in the ring. He tried to take Ali's head off every time they fought. In fact, there are some people who will contend that Ali never really won any of his fights against Ken Norton. I'm not saying I necessarily agree, but there are certainly people who will make that case. But Ken Norton said that he owes Ali so much. If you ever watched the famous documentary about Ali, Foreman, Ken Norton, Frazier, called Champions Forever, I think you can watch it on YouTube now. I remember watching that in the, must have been late 80s I watched it. If you watch that documentary, Ken Norton talks about how Ali was the one who not only improved the purses of boxers, but Ali was also the catalyst that led to sports stars in general in the United States, the money they were making going through the roof. Because there'd never been a sports star as charismatic as Muhammad Ali, who engaged the public so much as Muhammad Ali did. So Ken Norton, despite the fact he was trying to take Ali's head off and he was trying to take Ali's position, he acknowledged the fact that Ali allowed all of them to make good money. Ali was the cash cow and he was the man and he was the one who got favorable decisions in close fights. But ultimately, without Ali, guys like Norton wouldn't have been earning that kind of money. You understand? So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Fury and Wilder are supposed to bow down and, kiss Joshua's feet and tell him he's the best. Hell no. They're supposed to come for this guy's neck. And I'm all for trash talk. I love trash talk. I love them trash talking him. But when they're saying stuff like this guy is a cancer of the sport and terrible the way that Deontay Wilder is and the stuff that Tyson Fury's coming out with, is just ridiculous. There wouldn't be as much interest in Wilder versus Fury if Anthony Joshua wasn't around. When Wilder and Fury went face-to-face a few years ago in the ring after Wilder knocked out Spilka, was it? There wasn't as much interest in their fight as there is now. All right, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's not get it twisted. Joshua is the reason why these guys are eating better these days. Yeah, not the only reason, but a flipping major reason, the major reason. Here's what it is. Anyway, let me know how you feel in the comments, people. It's happening, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.